Jacob's been living in fear of his brother for 20 years now, and he gets to meet Esau, who's coming to greet him with 400 men. Genesis 33, 1-4. Then Jacob lifted his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau was coming, and 400 men with him. So he divided the children among Leah and Rachel and the two maids. He put the maids and their children in front, and Leah and her children next, and Rachel and Joseph last. But he himself passed on ahead of them and bowed down to the ground 7 times until he came near to his brother. Then Esau ran to meet him and embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. Contrary to Jacob's fears, Esau ran to meet him, and they wept together in a moment of peace. Esau came with a great army. He didn't come with a great army to attack Jacob, but he was coming with a great army to impress Jacob. This is most likely how Esau traveled throughout the land, with many men with him. He was a great leader in the land among many followers. Part of Isaac's prophecy has already been fulfilled, because Isaac prophesied in Genesis 27, verse 40, "You will live by your sword, and you will serve your brother." Well, Esau's living by his sword, all right, but he's not yet serving his brother. Jacob's become a great nation, and Esau has become a powerful leader. How often do we find people today very similar to Esau, who prefer to have that look of grandeur like Esau had, rather than that look of humility like Jacob has? If you look at the order Jacob put his family in, those closest in the front would be the first ones to be stolen, killed, whatever would take place if Esau was coming with vengeance. And those in the rear would have the greatest protection and the greatest chance of escape. And so Jacob has put Rachel and Joseph to the rear, and it's obvious that they are still his favorites. But Jacob, we have to give him credit, he took courage in the Lord, and he went alone ahead in front of them all to greet Esau. If anything was going to happen, it was going to happen to Jacob first. Jacob had already prayed in Genesis 32, 10-12. It says, "I'm unworthy of all the favor and of all the faithfulness which you have shown to your servant, for with only my staff I crossed the Jordan, and now I have become 2 companies. Save me, please, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, that he will come and attack me and the mothers with the children. For you said, I will assuredly make you prosper and make your descendants as the sand of the sea, which is too great to be counted." Now it's time to act upon the faith, time to act upon his prayer and trust God. Psalm 27:1 says, "The Psalm of David, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid?" Jacob, he left Canaan in fear of his life because he was deceiving Isaac, and he stole the blessing from Isaac. But Jacob returns to Canaan and bows down before Esau, his brother, for forgiveness. Jacob only desires forgiveness, peace. Let me live with my brother. In James 3:18 it says, "Now the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace by those who make peace." Jacob desires peace. A forced peace, it works, but it's a short-lived peace. It doesn't last very long. When you have reconciliation, a reconciled peace is a lasting peace. We've been reconciled to God, for example, and we have eternal peace with God. You can't get any better than that. In 2 Corinthians 5:19 it says, "For God was in Christ reconciling the world to himself, no longer counting people's sins against them. And he gave us this wonderful message of reconciliation. So Jacob and Esau have been reconciled. They're no longer holding grudges towards each other. Esau is quite content being what he is. You might question, well, Jacob, he bowed to the ground 7 times as he approached Esau. Jacob's not worshiping Esau. He's bowing as a sign of honor and a sign of submission to Esau's authority. He says, I'm not coming to usurp your authority. I'm just coming to love you and be loved by you. This bowing would be noticed by all who were with Jacob and Esau. Everybody there would see it. And it was obvious that Jacob was going to submit to Esau. And he can do that as long as there's no conflict with his faith. We're in the same boat. We can submit to governing authorities, and we're supposed to do that unless they come up with something that conflicts with our faith. Then we're to reject that. So this reconciliation is quite successful because Esau, he has all the success he desires. He's very successful in his own eyes. He's got men to serve him. He's a great leader in the land. This is the success Esau desired, and he has no need of Isaac's inheritance. He probably has more than Isaac has. Esau is living this life for what this life has to offer. Jacob, on the other hand, has eternal matters in his heart and in his mind. Genesis 33, 5-7. He lifted his eyes and saw the woman and children and said, Who are these with you? So he said, The children whom God has graciously given your servant. Then the maids came near with their children, and they bowed down. Leah likewise came near with her children, and they bowed down. And afterward Joseph came near with Rachel, and they bowed down. Esau is just amazed at the number of women and children that have come with Jacob. And Jacob has proclaimed, they're a gift from God. Psalm 127:3 says, Behold, children are a gift of the Lord. The fruit of the womb is our reward. So Jacob has placed everyone in order of protection, and now he has to introduce them in that same order. Jacob put Rachel and Joseph at the back, and they're going to be the very last to greet Esau. But Esau has one thing he can recognize, that Joseph also has multiple wives. Many times in our own lives, when people see how we are living, it excuses them from how they are living. So in Genesis 33, 8-11, Esau asks, And he said, What do you mean by this company which I have met? And he said, To find favor in the sight of my Lord. But Esau said, I have plenty, my brother. Let what you have be your own. Jacob said, No, please. If now I have found favor in your sight, then take my present from my hand. For I see your face as one who sees the face of God, and you have received me favorably. Please take my gift which has been brought to you, because God has dealt graciously with me, and because I have plenty. Thus he urged him, and he took it. Jacob originally was sending these gifts to appease Esau because of his great fear of Esau. But it's no longer a peace offering, but it has become an offering of Jacob's love for Esau, because Esau received him with love. They met with joyous weeping. Reconciliation has been accomplished. In the same manner, Jesus is our peace offering with the Father, and we can come to the Father without fear. In Hebrews 4:16 it says, Therefore let us draw near with confidence to the throne of grace, so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help in time of need. God has prospered Jacob. He's made it possible for Jacob to share all those blessings. Jacob's been a good steward of what God has given him. Those who do not put the Lord first, The expression is they put money in pockets with holes. But Jacob has put God first, and God has prospered him abundantly. Genesis 33, 12 to 17. Then Esau said, "Let us take our journey and go, and I will go before you." But he said to him, "My Lord knows that the children are frail, and the flocks and herds which are nursing are a care to me. And if they're driven hard one day, all the flocks will die. Please let my Lord pass on before his servant, and I'll proceed at my leisure according to the pace of the cattle that are before me, and according to the pace of the children, until I come to my Lord at Seir." Esau said, "Please let me leave some of the people who are with me." But he said, "What need is there? Let me find favor in the sight of my Lord." So Esau returned that day on his way to Seir. Jacob journeyed to Succoth and built for himself a house and made booths for his livestock. Therefore the place is named Succoth. Jacob spoke as though he would go south to Seir, which is called Edom, but Jacob went to Succoth. It appears Jacob's planned to cross the Jordan River and go south to visit his father before joining up with Esau again. But since Jacob had traveled such a long journey, he temporarily dwelt in Succoth on the east side of the Jordan River. So why does Jacob refuse the protection of men that Esau offers? Well, Jacob's putting his trust in the Lord to keep him safe. It's God that brought him this far. God just delivered him from the hand of Esau. They were able to reconcile. He knows God is going to watch over him. He's going to make a great nation out of Jacob. When we trust in the Lord, we're going to find favor with the Lord. I want to find favor with the Lord. Now, Succoth, that means booths. And booths, we all know that, they're made for a temporary shelter. And Jacob is only stopping here temporarily. It's not a permanent place for him to stop. Genesis 33, 18 to 20. Now Jacob came safely to the city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, when he came from Paddan Aram, and camped before the city. He bought the piece of land where he had pitched his tent from the hand of the sons of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of money. Then he erected there an altar and called it El Elohe Israel. Jacob crosses the Jordan River, and he purchases property, and he builds an altar. He's doing this to honor God. El Elohe Israel means the mighty God of Israel. Jacob has arrived in Canaan land, but he has not yet returned to his father Isaac. God has told Isaac to leave Haran and return to the land of his birth. Well, he's in the land of his birth, but he's not yet got to the place where his father dwells. In Genesis 31:13, it said, "I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed a pillar, where you made a vow to me. Now arise, leave this land, and return to the land of your birth." Now Shechem seemed like a peaceful place for Jacob's large herd of animals and for his family to have a new start, but Shechem's not where God wanted him at this time. As we read on, we'll find out Jacob will have to endure a lot of trouble in this area, and he thought it was going to be a great place to live. So tune in to the next episode, and let's follow along on what took place in Shechem.